Hi, welcome to the Health and Wellness Program. You're listening to Maree and aren't we having some pretty interesting weather? We've had some rain and sunshine and we've had amazing heat and bugs coming out from all sorts of places and flying around I guess that's what happens with the seasons, isn't it? When it rains, things flourish. And the garden was looking pretty amazing. There were some cracks in my tomatoes and some splits in my blueberries, but they're still very yummy and just nice nutrients, in our homegrown stuff. It was amazing the other day. I was somewhere and they had some bought tomatoes, in the plastic containers, and the little cherry tomatoes, and they opened them up and they put them in a salad. And I ate one and I went, oh my gosh, I can't taste anything. There's no taste, there's no flavour in this. If I hadn't seen what I'd put in my mouth, if you'd asked me what it was, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. It just felt a mushy, wet thing. And it was like, that does not taste like a tomato. I know it's got the name of a tomato, but it doesn't taste like a tomato should. So, these things that are grown, mass-produced and so forth, there's something we lose, isn't there? You can't have all of this and not have that. So you've got to compromise somewhere, and I guess the flavours and probably the nutrients, the full nutrients that we're supposed to have. So then no wonder people don't want to eat fruit and vegetables. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't taste great. Why do the kids want to eat it? It doesn't taste like much at all. Not like it used to be in the old days. I hate to say this. I'm starting to sound like my grandparents. Back in the old days, we had real eggs and real bacon and isn't it interesting times? Anyway, so getting to our bodies and health. So I have two clinics, one in Hastings, one in Waipakarau. Hastings one, I'm here on a Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Waipakarau, Monday and Friday. And I deal with lots of things, but I do specialise in the bone structure of the feet. That is my specialty. I've been doing it for 26 years. Long time, long career, so you get to know lots of things. I don't think your feet would be any different to what I've already seen. Nothing much surprises me now with feet. So I've seen it all, even webbed feet. I've even got photos of that too. So you wouldn't have anything unusual that I haven't already seen. Toes missing, nails missing, all sorts of combinations. But sometimes you're just not comfortable in your feet. Not in your skin, not comfortable in your feet. You don't want to walk far, you want to park the car right where the shop is. There could be tension in the feet, there could be pain, it could be throbbing, it could be very sharp, there could be nerve damage in the feet. All those sort of things are what I deal with. I don't operate on the feet, of course, that's the surgeons. I don't come out with a chainsaw or anything. So, the feet is what I specialise in. And I do lots of other things as well, because I've been in this field for so long, you get to know lots of different things. And so I sort of want to touch on nerves today and just have a little talk about it, because we all have nerves in our body. And they're fine when they're all working, you don't feel like anything. But if your nerve is pinched, or you're getting pins and needles, you can't ignore the nerves. And it's very hard to take something to relieve nerve pain. A lot of the medication will only just take the edge off, it won't give you a proper pain relief. And of course those medications can have side effects, as we know. Not for everyone, of course. And they might only just take the edge off, but they don't actually fix anything. It's trying to give the body time for it to heal itself. And nerves can heal themselves, but they take the longest. Did you know that? They take the longest in the body to heal. If you've had an operation, the doctor can say to you sometimes, now this could take 2 years to heal. And then you're like, is it really going to? You get into a year and a half. Is this really going to go? Is it getting any better? Is this going to be my lot for the rest of my life? So nerves are very tricky and very sensitive at times as well. And our whole body responds to a nerve impulse, and you want it like 100% current going through your body, and then you don't feel anything, you just feel normal. But if that current is only coming in through at 50%, then you can feel pins and needles, numbness, you can feel like a trickling sensation through that area, or like insects crawling, or you can feel heat, or you can feel this cotton wool feeling. People describe the sensations all different, and it depends on that amount of current. Like if it's coming through at 50%, it's irritating and annoying, and then you might get a surge of a current, and it will be like a little shock, and it will go through, and then it will just go back to normal again, and you stop in your tracks, and it seems to. You're too scared to walk again, just about, in case that electric shock comes through again. So some people are starting to experience those. I've only seen that around with people in the last 12 years, where there's this electric shock coming through, and it could be down the leg and the foot, just about anywhere in the body. And so that is quite new. And I'd never seen that in any other country, only New Zealand and only in Hawke's Bay. But I am starting to hear about it more and more. So it's an interesting one. And when that person's come in and I'm working on the feet, that's always gone. It disappears. The nerve impulses come through more correctly, and that issue starts to go, because it's kind of like a surge. Something releases and there's like a surge come through. And then as you're starting to heal someone, the nerve impulses can start moving back up to that 100%. So you might start to then get 60% and then 70%. And so those nerve sensations start to change. And so that gets quite exciting, because instead of pins and needles, it's just like an irritating something under the skin, and then it could be just like something crawling now and then. So it starts to get that surge more correctly coming through, so the sensations are altered with our brain senses, and then we describe it in a different way. So that's always a good sign. When I see the sensations are changing, I know the nerves are responding and the nerves are starting to heal. So I've seen lots of things in 26 years, and sometimes the nerves do take their time, and I'll work, if it's around the feet and the legs, maybe twice a week for 6 to 8 weeks, depending how severe it all is. And sometimes it will take that 6 weeks to completely get it right and back on track. I get about 95% success, so you've got to be really unlucky for it not to work. I have quite high success rates. And then once you're healed, or your body is functioning correctly, I will quite often, there's no maintenance. You don't have to come in once a month or once every 2 months. The body will hold, and you'll be fine, unless you have a trip or a fall. You might need a couple of little treatments to get back on track again. Sometimes I don't see people for 3-4 years, and quite often they come in for something else. So the success rate is really high. So why wouldn't we want that? That's just awesome. And so nerves are, you can get sciatica nerves that's running down your leg, and that's not very pleasant. Every step you take, it's irritating, and it can be halfway down the leg, it can be the full leg, it could be just in the lower back. And so that's quite often involved with the sciatica nerve and the psoas muscles. And so sometimes I actually have to get into the psoas muscle and release that, and then that takes the pressure off the sciatica nerve, and the sciatica nerve can flow correctly. And that's quite quickly. That's within about 3 treatments we can get that usually correct, unless you've had it for a very long time, like a couple of years. And it might take a little bit longer. But if you're improving with each treatment, that's the main thing. We know we're on the right thing. It's just a matter of time for it to stay and hold. And then we can get nerves that are caused by some infection. Can be a virus. With the COVID, there are a lot of people getting effect in their nervous system. They're getting headaches, tinnitus in their ears, they're getting disruption in their digestive tract, and quite a lot of those can be coming from the nerves. The nerves are inflamed, they're not very happy, maybe the tissue's all swollen, and so forth. So then it's a matter of getting the viral load down, matter of getting that inflammation going, and then the body can heal itself. The body can heal itself given the right chance. It's just doing the right stuff for it to be corrected. There are things that you can take to help the nervous system. If you're a person who's jumpy, if there's a loud noise and you jump, you get a fright, your calcium level is too low. Not that I'm a doctor and I'm not diagnosing, I'm just giving you some ideas, okay? Once the clause, if you have any issue, please go to your medical, what do they call them? Medical practitioner, medical person, to discuss all your issues with them. I think something like that anyway. But if you get a fright and that's regular, then you look at your calcium levels. Your calcium levels could be quite low and it's not coating the nerve fibers correctly. It's a bit like insulation on wiring. So the calcium helps coat the nerve fibers. And if there's a good coating on them, you don't jump when there's a loud noise. Also, you can be tossing and turning at night time. That's a sign of calcium deficiency as well. As a few others, of course, and you can always look them up on good old Google. But it just gives you some ideas. Magnesium deficiency, then you can get cramps in your muscles. Your muscles could get tired easily and they don't respond as well. Magnesium's also if you're dreaming a lot at night time and you're not getting that proper rest, you could be a bit magnesium deficiency. We also call it that magnesium puts the spark in your eyes. It puts the spark in your muscles so they work better, but it's also a spark in your eyes. Oh, life's not so bad. It's not that I'm saying it's an antidepressant, it's not like that at all, but if life is dull and not so great and it just seems a bit, you've lost your spark, get some magnesium and take some magnesium for a few weeks. Just take the recommended dosage. If you're not on any medication, it's fine. If you're on medication, check with your pharmacy or your medical person. But that's a nice, everyone needs magnesium. Just about everybody needs magnesium. We can be all quite low on that because with the stresses that we've had over the last few years, where our nervous systems are a bit tired, we're a bit run down, we're overthinking things sometimes, we've got stresses going on not only in the world but with family, neighbours, anything. And so it uses, when we're under stress, it uses a lot of minerals. Our bodies use a lot of minerals and especially magnesium. And so then we could get cramping, or we could be dreaming a lot, not resting properly, or anxiousness, or life's not very interesting now. We've lost that spark. So we need to get that back in. So a bit of magnesium always does wonders. Or you could even, if you don't want to take a supplement, you could get some Epsom salts and have a bath with a whole packet. Or a foot soak with, you can soak your feet with about 3 tablespoons of magnesium, Epsom salts, and because that's high in the magnesium, and that will go through the skin into the body and put that spark back in your eyes. Oh, life's not so bad. Alright, so that's your calcium and magnesium. The other thing that's really good for the nerves is lysine, L-L-Y-S-I-N-E. This is an amino acid, and that's very good for the nerves and healing. It's also a little antiviral as well. It has some antiviral properties, but the lysine is excellent for calming nerves. I have some hope oil and calm oil. They're essential oils. The hope oil is very good with pathogens, viruses, bacteria. And sometimes we can get those nasty viruses into our system, and it can have its little merry way in our tissues. So it's not always moving around in our blood. It can settle in somewhere and have its little wicked way. And so I'm finding that it's about 80% of my clients, if I use hope oil on them, the issues start to go away. The pain goes away. And the oil is, its only job is to kill viruses. It's not, and pathogens and bacteria. it's not to bring inflammation down, and its job is not to, as a pain relief. And yet the person starts to feel better in half an hour to an hour. You know, I've had people in pain for 10 years, and they come in, say for an example a knee, and they've had issues with their knee and it's getting worse and worse, and you know, they're waiting on that waiting list for an operation if they're very lucky. And you know, they come in and they tell me the story, and I said, look, I just want to put some oil on your knee. You okay with that? Yep. Put it on, and I take more details and find out their story, and then you know, half an hour later or 3/4 of an hour, I'll say, now walk on your knee. You know, I remember one lady, and she was in the mid-70s, and she went I said, get up and walk and just feel your knee now. It was only 30 minutes after she'd come in. She got up and she walked around the massage table, and she turned around and she looked at me, and she just burst into tears. And I was like, are you okay? And she goes, I can't believe the pain relief I've got. How did you do that in 20 minutes? And so it can be as quick as that. Not with everyone, but 80% of my clients. That's a high percentage. And so then it was like, okay, you can put this on twice a day, and the pain will subside and you'll get easier for movement. But if there's damage still in the joint, you may need the operation to just make it completely better. So sometimes, you know, there is damage there, but if there's a lot of pain, and if we can reduce that pain, then life becomes easier. You know, I had a gentleman a few months ago in his early 80s, and he'd been suffering with back pain for 20 years. And 2 back operations, and he was still in pain, and he walked in like a 90-year-old shuffling with his feet, and took him a bit to sit down because of the pain he was in, and I couldn't get him to lie on the table because that was too much of an effort for him. And you can just see the pain written all over his face, and he'd been on major painkillers, and the surgeons had told him there's nothing more we can do for you, you're just going to have to live with it. Not sleeping very well, uncomfortable, lower back pain it was, and I'm like, oh, what can I do here? I don't know. I'll go back to my basics. I'll do the basics, and you know, just do your thing, Maree. And so I just got him to lean over the massage table, and I actually put the calm oil on. The calm is very calming for the nerves, calming the nerves. Again, the essential oils that are in there are not a pain relief. They're not to bring inflammation down, they're to fight pathogens again. But it's a different combination to the Hope one. But I put the calm first, and then I put the Hope oil. You don't have to rub it in, just let the skin absorb what it wants, and then the body's only taking in what it needs. And I did a little kind of massage on that. Quite often will relieve lower back pain, and that doesn't take very long. I only have 4 or 5 minutes, and so it wasn't too annoying for him. I didn't like push in and irritate the nerves or anything. It wasn't kind of like that. It was just to be very calming and soothing for him. And then I said, now stand up, and it should be a little bit easier and freer. And he stands up and he goes, oh, that feels much better. And I knew that would have been what I was doing on the back, but the oils took a little bit longer to sink in, about 20 minutes to 30 minutes before that will really have that good effect. And sometimes it will take longer because the person's been sick a lot longer than that. And so sometimes I'll say you do need to try these oils for 3 days before you'll really know that it is an answer or it's not an answer, because sometimes it doesn't work. I said about 80% of the time, but that's pretty high success rate. 80%, that's pretty good, eh? And so anyway, off he went, and he came back about 4 days later for the next appointment, and he walked in like he was 75, not even 82, and he was moving with his knees up and not shuffling, and he had his head up, and his colour in his face looked better. And because I got him to put the oils on twice a day on his back as best he could, and and he was just so happy. He said, I've got no pain in my back. None. I said, none? He goes, no back pain now at all. And he just looked at me like, I don't know how this happened. I don't know what you've done or how this could be possible, but even the surgeons couldn't help me anymore. And it was like watching someone who'd won lotto. You know, the spark in his eyes, and he just got it, because life was sad for him. He'd lost his partner, his wife, just 2 years earlier, and he was in all this pain. Life is so hard when you're struggling. And so he got this new lease on life, and he could walk again, and he could do things, and life wasn't so miserable anymore when you get rid of all that kind of pain you've had for so long. And the hardest part was for him driving any length of time, and the back would be sore. And I mean, he couldn't walk very far. And so I saw him once a week for a few weeks, and we're about 3 or 4 appointments. And then he said, I'm walking twice a day, 20 minutes twice a day. And I said, wow, that's so exciting. And you could see it, the look on his face. He couldn't walk before, and now he can walk. And then he went to Gisborne in the car. He said, my back was a little bit sore, and a little bit sore the next day, but nothing like what I was expecting. And I didn't have to take any painkillers, and the back came right, and he was able to walk through it. And so he was away. So you never know. Sometimes you just got to give something a try. And so I have the hope oil and the calm oil to help certain circumstances, to help the nerves. And sometimes when it's pins and needles, there's actually sometimes a pathogen effect going on in there that's affecting the nerves. And it's not a structural issue, and it's a pathogen issue. So it's a different way of looking at things. And I mean, you can, even whether you get COVID or a vaccine, you can get a bit of nerve irritation. So, and that's usually a reaction from the protein that's in the spike of the virus. And in the vaccine, they're only the spikes anyway, so you don't have the actual with the round virus part in there. It's only the spikes, but there is a protein on the spikes that people can be quite allergic to and quite sensitive to. I think it's about 17% of the population can react to this specific protein. So we need to know what to do with it and how to bring the system back down and rebalance it. And sometimes it's just a simple histamine, an antihistamine, and you take that for a few days and things start to settle it again. Sometimes it's worth a try, check with your chemist and so forth in case you're on medication and you need to check these things out. And so nerves are very an interesting topic. They're quite fascinating because they make us move. We have nerves in our muscles to make the muscles contract, and we have a message going from the brain to the muscle and contract to make a fist or to pick up the cup. Now relax and let it go. And it's all the nerves and the impulses coming through from the brain. And you interfere with that, things can go a bit haywire. And so I find the body absolutely fascinating. The more I learn, the more I realise I don't know. And so I'm forever just studying more and more and keeping up with the new science, and I do find it very interesting. So, if you are struggling and you want a second opinion even, or come from another angle, or want something checked out, or you just want your feet looked at to see if there's something I can do for you. I'm very honest. If there's nothing I can't suggest or do anything for you, I'll tell you, and I'll suggest maybe to go and check with this person or that person. So I won't just say, oh no, you need to come to me for 6 months, once a week for 6 months. I just don't do that. And the longest I ever work on anyone is 8 weeks. If I haven't fixed you within or starting to make an improvement in 4 weeks, it's like, hey, maybe I'm not the right person for you. So I am very honest. So if you want to have a chat with me, my number is 027 249 5090. If you'd like to have a look at my webpage, it's www.footbliss, one word, So that's Foot Bliss, BLISS .co. Some people say footless, and it's like, no, not footless, foot bliss. Oh, okay. .co.nz, so that's www.footbliss, all one word, .co.nz. And again, my number was 0272 495090. Now keep well.